All right, I think the ads are done. I hope they are. Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, March 12th, the year of our Lord 2024, and this is twitch.tv/PizzaMaid. I am the head maid in charge here, Pizza Maid. As always, it is a pleasure to serve you. I hope everyone's doing well. I need to be respectful and take this cough drop out of my mouth because I can hear it rolling around in my freshly cleaned teeth. No, these teeth are not brand new, but they were cleaned yesterday, and it feels like $1,000,000 when you get your teeth cleaned, let me tell you. So I've been like, oh wow, I wanna eat all the things because I could hear it on my fresh teeth. Colgate kid, I don't know. But if this is your first time on the channel, thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Pizza Maid. I am I guess you could say, Phantasy Star variety streamer. I try to play different games of Phantasy Star or Phantasy Star Online, although all you've ever seen me play is Blueburst, but I promise I do have other games on the pipeline. But if this is your first time here, thank you so much. If you like what you're seeing, be sure to click that follow button. Aside from that as well, you can also subscribe to the channel or use an Amazon Prime subscription if you'd like. But typically, while I'm usually playing games, once a month I do a very special event where I am live in PSO Blueburst on Ephinea, and I'll actually show you where I am right now. I'm usually live on PSO Blueburst in Ephinea doing an interview with a member of the PSO community, and this month I am so excited because I get to interview one of the first friends that I made in PSO Blueburst and one of the sweetest, kindest, biggest teddy bears in the world, Cyl O Ette. So, without further ado, I'm also going to tell folks, if you want to find Cyl O Ette as well, I made a custom command. Hi, Sarzak! Hello! I made a custom command for Cyl as well. If you enjoy hearing everything that's coming from Cyl O Ette today, please be sure to check them out on their social media. You can check them out at their Twitch channel as well as on Twitter and social media to see continued updates as to when they're streaming and when they're live. But I've done so much talking, I think it's time to let Cyl talk too. So, let me really quickly get on here and see if I can unmute. Is there a wild Cyl available?
Hello.
Hi, Cyl, how are you?
Sorry. That's getting a sip of coffee.
It's okay. I'm choking on my own saliva, so you're good. Guys, I'm a professional interviewer here. I'm a professional journalist. Say no more. But I'm actually really glad that you got coffee. One of us needs to be caffeinated. And I think, really, you deserve to be caffeinated. If I have any more caffeine in my system, I don't quite know what I would do with myself. I'm already, bouncy and off the walls as it is on, a half a cup during the day. If I had any more coffee in me, it'd be a hot mess. I wouldn't sleep. So, I'm glad you're getting coffee, though. How have you been, though? Good?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm all right. I got no complaints here. I'm just excited because this is my once a month chance. I was trying to explain this to Sam, and I was like, Sam, this is my once a month opportunity to hang out with my friends and hang out with my internet friends. I like the internet people to hang out with, the people that, I get to know and learn more about. So the fact that I get to sit down and chat with you for a little bit, I've been little kid excited all day. I'm like, I gotta wait only 3 hours and 27 minutes until I can post the update as to when the stream is going live. And we've got some folks already in the channel. I see there's a Sarzak in there, as well as Jaina Bay. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Now, to all of you here, as you can tell, you see my profile picture, and then you also see the VTuber model of Cyl O Ette. So, just to kind of kick things off, do a little bit of a round table of introductions. If this is the first time you guys are getting to meet Cyl O Ette, Cyl, what would you say is your kind of persona or VTuber online, and do you have any lore or any interesting stories that you'd like to share with the community about your VTuber?
Well, I've been a VTuber for probably a year, give or take.
Oh wow, really?
And I think so. I could be off, but I actually just now got around to doing my lore a week ago.
Oh.
which is good because it's still fresh on my mind, but it's a little dark.
Oh, you could share with us. Don't worry. Or if you want to. If you don't want to share, that's perfectly fine too.
Well, basically, Cyl O Ette is from an alternate reality, so to speak, from the era where the Black Plague was prominent.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a plague doctor and worked tirelessly to find a cure. When he found it, he cured the entire village that he resided in. But it drew the attention of someone that didn't want it cured. So they placed a curse on him, which resulted in him becoming a vampire and inadvertently slaughtering his whole village. So now he's bent on revenge.
Now, here's where the major plot twist comes for me. And I actually noticed this when I was watching your VOD, because I really love watching your VODs. If I don't get the opportunity to watch you live when you're streaming, I usually catch your previous VODs. And I saw that you were previously playing Bloodborne. I noticed that there is also another image of Cyl O Ette without the Plague Doctor mask on. And I saw your actual vampire face. I lost my shit and I fangirled real hard. I was like, oh my god, I saw vampire Cyl O Ette. Oh my god. And I freaked out. And I had no one else to cheer about it with except my cat. But we were excited to see it because I didn't know that there was two images of Plague Doctor and vampire Cyl O Ette. And I actually got to witness it. I was like, oh, what? Is this real life? And I got really excited. So I'm actually glad that I didn't know, and it was a pleasant surprise for me when I did watch it.
It's kind of surprising that a lot of people don't really realize that, because it's usually locked behind a channel redeem.
Okay.
I think most people kind of skim over it.
Oh, see, now I know what I need to save up my channel points for, because I'm gonna be honest, I am the traditional stretch hydrate channel point redeemer. I like to make sure all of the content creators that I'm watching are properly hydrated and get their good ample stretch. But now I have to learn to save up my points, because if I don't, I just accumulate all these points and then I don't know what to do with them. And then you're going to be drinking for like 2 hours. Just enjoy water for the next 2 hours, because I will redeem all those points in one fell swoop. But that's, oh, and speaking of which, thank you. Thank you so much for the hydrate and the stretch, Sarzak. Actually, if you would like to partake in some coffee, Cyl O Ette, please help yourself. I'm going to partake in some high-quality H2O and get a stretch in simultaneously.
I don't mind if I do.
So, now kind of knowing and understanding the lore, it's so interesting to me because I can't... Initially, when I first met you, I immediately associated you with being a retro game streamer. But then I started seeing a couple other games that you played. I noticed that you were very excited about Enshrouded, and I saw that there was a previous stream of that, and you did Bloodborne last night. Do you think that you kind of fit yourself into a certain niche or category of gaming, or do you feel that you're definitely one of, like, what I feel is a rarity, a variety streamer out there, that you try a myriad of games and you like to dabble in all the things?
I would consider myself a variety streamer. When I started, it was mostly retro games, and I would seek out games that most people hadn't heard of, like the Kingsfield franchise, for example. But there's also certain newer games that fall into something of a niche that I fit in as oh my goodness, coffee.
That's okay. One of us has to have coffee. Let it be you.
Let me rephrase that. There's a certain niche that I fall into as well. Souls-like titles, RPGs, that sort of thing.
So then,
the occasional horror game too.
Then do you think that you do you feel like you maybe possibly gravitate towards indie like development companies, or you still give AAA companies a chance in terms of games as well? I'm assuming so, but I always want to ask.
Sometimes, yeah, but it is usually indie games that draw my attention because they have, it seems like they have to work harder with a smaller crew and labors of love and all that stuff.
Okay. That's awesome. I think that's amazing because again, I agree with you. A lot of those indie, studios that are out there, especially with how cutthroat the market and the industry has been as of late, it's hard to see them thrive, or you get to see, glimpse and peaks of what their upcoming games are, and then something happens where it kind of falls through the cracks, and then the game never gets released at launch, and it could be frustrating, and it's like, oh, I really wanted to play that game, but because of funding or layoffs or what have you, you never get to see those games kind of come to fruition, which is unfortunate because there's amazing games out there and amazing studios that I'm sure people have never heard of.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Now, I do know that with the threat of the plague now being eradicated, I just want to congratulate you on eradicating the plague. We're good now, both in a lore metaphorical sense as well as in the literal sense. We did it. You saved us, Syl. It looks like you finally come down to, getting into a little bit of a downtime, and you don't have to focus so much on being a plague doctor. I mean, maybe the vampire business is still thriving. You can tell me. You could blink once for yes or blink twice for no, whichever you prefer. But it definitely does look like you've really kind of come into your own and found a niche in streaming video game content, and you don't limit yourself, which I always, I admire, because I think it's almost a rarity now to see variety content creators out there, because some content creators are so focused on the numbers and the statistics and the analytics that they kind of forget that they're online just to play a game. So I really applaud you and I commend you for that. I'm curious to ask if you kind of can recall your early introductions into gaming, and if there were any specific games of note that were formative and really kind of making you the game enthusiast that you are today.
Oh wow. Let's see. I think the story goes that I started gaming when I was 2 years old. But
I'm sorry, you started gaming at 2 years old?
yeah. But the earliest memories I have was probably when I was around 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, myself, and my mother would sit around and play Super Mario Brothers on the NES. So that's showing my age there, kind of. But we would play that or Contra, I think Double Dragon.
Oh, so many good titles in there.
And I remember we would sit around and play Final Fantasy as well. And I think we played through probably most of them in that era. So Final Fantasy kind of kept me going a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dragon Quest, things of that nature. So we would just sit around and play those for ages.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just never kind of grew out of it. Still boot those games up sometimes.
But I think even the fact, one, I'm surprised to hear that it was your mom that started playing Super Mario with you. I think that is the most amazing thing ever. And I think that there's no love more special than a mother's love with mushrooms and question mark blocks. And she kind of set a positive direction for you in gaming, which you don't hear about much anymore. And I actually I really like that.
Yeah, those were good times for sure. My dad was not so thrilled by the video game phase at all. I don't think he's ever picked up a controller. He just kind of looks at them sideways. Very much one of those, are you playing them video games again? Types of people.
There's always one parent. There's one parent that really encourages you to kind of, think outside the box and, dare to do things that may not be, the societal norm. And then there's that one parent that does ask you, are you playing those video games? We all have one. Do you have the siblings that you also connected with in video games as well?
Uh, a little bit. My sister would play games with us sometimes, but most of the time we would get into it, get in a sibling squabble over like Street Fighter 2.
Who's
I
doing the
have
dishes tonight?
right. I have very vivid memories of her picking E Honda or Blanca because they have the spam attacks.
Mm.
She would just get me in a corner and keep mashing that button, and I had no way of countering it. I would get so mad.
Really, it's that sibling love though that it stands the time and all the tribulations. Where you can look back on those things now fondly and laugh, but I'm sure at the time you're just like, I'm salty. I want this run back. How dare you pick Blanca again? Don't make me ban him from this set of 3.
Yo, definitely.
But it seemed like you touched on a lot of Final Fantasy, and it sounds like I think was that kind of your introduction to kind of JRPGs, and you enjoyed kind of narrative story fueled games, kind of in the same vein of a Final Fantasy or maybe a Chrono Trigger.
I think so, yeah. I have to admit right here that I've never played Chrono Trigger.
That's okay. That's
But
okay.
Final Fantasy, we always played that a lot. And I still play them today. A little disappointed in the more recent titles, but yeah, especially Final Fantasy VI. I'll play that game till I'm dead.
Oh gosh, I love Final Fantasy VI. Every person that I talk to will have that same discussion. And the thing is there's a lot, or at least the internet, it feels like to a degree, there's a lot of Final Fantasy 7 and 8 enthusiasts. And I'm the Final Fantasy 6 or 9 kid that I'm like, Garnet will make me ugly cry till the ends of the earth, and no one can tell me otherwise. Same for Tara Brantford. They're some of my favorite like female characters in JRPGs of all time. But then people are like, well, what about Aerith and Tifa? I'm like, they're great. I have no qualms with 7 or 8, but it's very difficult to connect with those games when I had a game like 6. Like that was one of my earlier introductions. Do you think that also, I mean, especially given the recent news about Akira Toriyama, do you think that Dragon Warriors, and do you feel like that was kind of the story driven content that you kind of gravitated towards? And was that something that your mom was okay with you playing because it was more of a story and it was kind of filling the role of a book in a digital sense?
Yeah, she didn't mind me playing them
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Dragon Quest was. I lost my train of thought. Um, so sorry,
No,
nervous.
don't be. You're fine.
But Dragon Quest seemed to kind of gravitate towards maybe a little bit more than Final Fantasy nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Dragon Quest 8 and 11 are some of the best JRPGs I've ever played.
I will agree with you on that. I will agree with you. I think it was Dragon Quest 11 was actually the first Dragon Quest game I had ever played. And I remember being so confused because I thought it was Dragon Ball Z characters set in a JRPG game until Sam stopped me and went, "Oh, you think this is them cosplaying?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right? Is that what this Dragon Quest game is?" And he's like, "Oh no." And I'm like, "That's not Trunks?" And he's like, "No, no, that's not Trunks." And I was like, "Oh, well, all right." But I love that you have, so many kind of foundations and pillars. And then do you feel like there's any newer games that are kind of actually becoming formative to you now?
The Souls franchise for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Though that I don't know if you would call them newer by now. First one came out quite a while ago, but those and maybe Enshrouded. Then the upcoming Dragon's Dogma 2 will probably have me hooked for months, maybe years.
Now, I don't have this in my notes, but I'm going to ask you the important question. What is your pawn going to look like in Dragon's Dogma 2? Do you have a plan?
Actually, downloaded the character creator demo. It lets you go ahead and create your characters, and you can just import them when the game comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to sound kind of cheesy, probably, but I designed my pawn after my wife.
Oh, no, that's not cheesy at all. That's cute, and I love it. Sam, take
Pretty
notes.
in-depth character creation thing.
Well, I was very amazed by what I saw because I saw the character creator actually kind of come into the fold, and I was confused at first because I was like, is this the new Elden Ring? Because they are very similar in art styles that I wasn't sure what game I was looking at until people started saying, this is my pawn. I'm like, oh, this is Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh no, I'm going to lose so many of my friends to Dragon's Dogma 2. I won't be hearing from them for at least 6 to 8 weeks. So I wish them the best. When is that game even coming out?
The 22nd of this month, I think.
I'm really
Or
glad.
maybe it could be the 20th.
Well, I'm really glad then that we've chosen to do the interview prior to the release, because I would feel horrible being like, I'm going to have to pull you away from Dragon's Dogma for just 2 hours. Just 2 hours, if that's okay. Quick interview,
Oh,
no big deal.
I'm sure I'll still be on PSO quite a bit.
Now, would you say like with the Souls games or Bloodborne, like would you say you're a big From Software fan?
Absolutely.
Oh, so have you played Armored Core?
I have, but it's been a very long time, and I don't recall. I think maybe the last one I played was 4.
Oh.
Or maybe 3. It's been a while.
I'm trying to remember which is the one with the scary red mech guy. Is that 3 or I know he's prevalent as the big boss in I believe 1 and 2, but I don't remember if he was in 3 and 4. But I just keep referring to him as the scary big red boss guy.
In quite a while. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I'm planning to play Armored Core 6, and I don't know if you've ever saw my aim in PSO. It's not very good, so I don't anticipate it for being a very good game for me to play, but I'm going to do it anyway because it lets me live out my mech pilot dreams. So don't let memes be dreams, you know? But do you plan on streaming any of like Dragon's Dogma or any Armored Core?
Most likely, at least Dragon's Dogma, if as long as my PC and capture card and all that holds up.
Oh.
I plan to stream it.
Okay. Actually, I didn't even know if if it was a big file size. Like, I'm trying to remember from what the original Dragon's Dogma, what the file size was on Steam. So I have no idea. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to check it out. And I know I'm going to keep going on a tangent talking of games. So I have to railroad us and get us back on track, Cyl. I was thinking about all the wonderful games that I could play. Oh, no, I'll ask that later. Never mind. I will ask that later. I'm not going to do that now. But as this is, the happy hour in PSO, we have to give some love to Phantasy Star Online, although I do fully intend on asking you more about fighting games and Dragon's Dogma in just a bit. And actually, it's very funny because, one, I'm almost going to get disconnected, so let's not get disconnected. I got that notification now. I'm sitting in my seat too long, so let me do that. I believe we first met in Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst, and you were my first Hukasil friend that ran me through stuff. And I remember you doing so much cool stuff and me going, I can't wait to be just like that. And here I am today saying to myself, I can't wait to be just like that. I'm getting so close. I'm doing it. I'm one day closer to being just like Cyl O Ette. So I remember you just being so kind and so welcoming and kind of helping me out and showing me the ropes. And it's actually, I've played with other Seals. I know a couple of folks in chat have Seals that I've played with, but I think I've played very consistently with you and your Seal for a very long time. Although I do recall, I believe it's your Humar or your Hucast. I'm kind of curious to ask though, would you remember some of your like earliest interactions on Ephinea and what the experience was like for you? I wasn't sure if you're fresh to the Ephinea server or if you've been around in Ephinea for a couple years, and what's kind of always gripped your attention to playing Phantasy Star Online.
Um, I've not been on Ephinea very long.
Really?
Probably, probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. I would guess. But I think my first interactions with it was talking to Sarzak during one of his streams. They were playing Blue Burst, and I had just bought the GameCube version and all the necessary stuff to play that online. And finally found out how to get Blue Burst going. Got on there, and I think I might have done some runs with Sarzak first, and then shortly after that, we met.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the stuff I've done was like solo, because I tend to focus. I don't want to drag other people into my agenda too much, but I always like getting on here and helping people out, and doing runs with them, just hanging out with no real goal in mind on my end.
That's so surprising to me, though, considering you've been in the game for 8 or 9 months, but you seem like and I still believe you are a huge wealth of knowledge. I've learned so much from just playing alongside with you on certain zones and certain fields. Do you like look at references like the wiki, or a lot of it is just kind of muscle memory from playing the original PSO?
It's a blend of both. I do use the wiki quite a bit, especially for the drop charts and the mag evolution charts, which I don't have to use that one anymore. But a lot of it also comes from the GameCube version. Back because I played that when I was like I don't know, 14 or 15 years old. I played it religiously. And a lot of those tricks still work.
Do you think then there's a lot of like great quality of life changes in Blue Burst compared to GameCube? Do you ever see yourself kind of comparing the two, or do you actually see that they're kind of very even keeled or very equal in terms of gameplay and drop style and stuff like that?
Well, a lot of it's pretty close to being faithful to the original, but I see myself playing Blue Burst a lot more because of the improved graphics, controls, the user interface, and all that good stuff. And also, since you're playing by yourself on your own PC, even in a group, you have absolutely no chance of getting ripped off like I did back on the GameCube version on split screen.
Oh.
There's a bitter story behind that one.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh gosh, I just knocked into my computer. I got my water. Let's dish. Spill the tea, Cyl. Spill the tea.
Well, back in the day, me and 4 friends were playing PSO 1 and 2 on the GameCube. And I had brought my copy and my GameCube, and one of my other friends brought his memory card which had his character on it. So we're all sitting there playing, and 2 of those friends had their characters saved on my memory card. So they didn't own the game, so they couldn't even play it if I wasn't around, right? But this other one, we had all decided to take a break because we'd been playing it pretty much all day. We was going to go touch grass or something. And he's like, okay, I'll be out there in a minute. Just let me save my character. I was like, all right. So if I recall correctly, when you're on split screen, the first player is the one that has to go to quit the game for everybody's character to save. So I left mine logged in. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think anything about it. And several days later, sitting at the house by myself, I thought I'm gonna play some PSO. So I booted up. I go to the depths area on episode 2, and I walk up to an enemy and I go to attack it, and my character just does the punch thing. I'm like, what? That ain't right. So I check my inventory, and everything I had was gone. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I put it in the bank or something, which was out of character because I never done that. So I went and checked. It was not there. Checked all my friends' profiles. None of them had my stuff. So it was my buddy who had stayed in there to save his game and all that. He had stole everything, including my mag.
No.
Oh, yeah.
So you still had all your levels on your character, but all of the items in your inventory were completely gone.
Exactly.
Were you able, since it was all still saved then? Oh wait, if it was GameCube, is there a variant? And I apologize because I'm not too familiar with GameCube. Is there like a VMU card or a memory card where you can, if he was on your memory card, you can go and check his?
Nope. So the way it worked was if somebody had their character saved to their own memory card,
Mm-hmm.
they would plug it into the second memory card slot, and it would kind of temporarily move their character to your memory card. But as soon as the game's saved and the memory cards are removed, it goes back to their memory card. So you no longer have access to their character at all.
Oh, no. See, that's where my earrings come off, Syl. And that's where I throw down. That's where I throw hands. No, Syl, no. Mm-mm. Did you ever confront that friend about it?
I confronted him and pretty much got laughed at. You know, he's like, it's a video game. Why are you so mad?
It's the principle. You know? It's the principle. Oh, no. Did this actually turn you off from wanting to play the game for a little bit, though? And that's actually what I think scares me the most out of this.
It did. I quit playing it. I sold my copy and moved on for several years. And then one day, randomly, got the itch to play it again. So I started over. And on GameCube, I've had to restart my character probably at least 3 times. One of them's very recent because I had like I don't recall exactly, but like a level 110 Hue
Mm-hmm.
and I was saving my game and the electricity just randomly flickered for like a second right when it said do not turn off your system while saving, and it deleted my character.
Oh, no. Syl, I'm getting choked up right now. I'm not even choking right now. I'm getting upset for you. No. No. I would be so...
I took an opportunity with that though and decided to run a Force character on my GameCube version. I usually don't play with Force characters, but I figured I'd try it.
Oh, man. Okay. You're taking this so well. I would not be able, if these experiences happened to me, I wouldn't be able to say it without like a quiver in my throat and me getting choked up and crying. Because I have and maybe this is just me, I've developed sometimes an emotional investment into the characters that I work so hard and I've really grinded into. Like case in point, Margarita, kind of introduced me to this world and helped me make new friends and new people. If I lost her, I'll be honest, and chat, don't laugh at me. Please, no bully. But I would probably cry quietly, all by myself. more likely than not in a bathroom so I can blow my nose into some toilet paper. That's how connected I get with my characters. So you are so much braver and so much stronger than I am to be able to tell these stories and be like, it's an opportunity. I rolled a force that way. Do you actually have a character, like, one, do you remember the first character you ever created in Phantasy Star Online? And two, I guess this is kind of a two-part question. Do you have a character that you most resonate or you kind of click with that you feel like this is my character? Like me, this character is kind of a facet of who I am.
Yeah, definitely. My first character back on GameCube was a Hue cast,
Okay.
and it was a Regria. Yeah, it was a Regria. But now I think the character I'm logged in as currently right now is the one I resonate with the most. Not exactly sure why. There's just something about it.
Well, since you started with the Hue cast, that means you're like Karik. And Karik is really rude to people. So I don't blame you getting connected to your Cyl. I don't blame you at all. I think that you made the right choice here. Karik is always rude to me whenever I interact with him. So I feel like you've chosen right by your Cyl. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm only half kidding because Karik is very rude. And I try not to have a bias or, have my prejudices. But Hue casts leave a very sour taste in my mouth after I do any type of story quest with Karik. And as for Cyls, they just have cool animations, so.
They do. And he is quite the rude one for sure. But I mean, play your cards right, you can get a scythe at least.
Now, here's the thing. Now, and I did not think of this until now. Did you go under the moniker of Cyl O Ette because you're Cyl, or did you always have the moniker of Cyl O Ette and it just seemed fitting to have a Cyl named Cyl O Ette?
Actually, that name comes from Final Fantasy 14.
Oh?
Back in the day, I used to be known as Judge. And that's still what my family calls me. But for whatever reason, Final Fantasy 14, people kind of picked on me quite a bit. Like I could join a random dungeon and they would just trash talk me all the time. Like I don't know, I was the chosen one to be trash talked. And eventually, I got tired of it. It kind of grated on me and didn't really put me in the greatest of moods. So I quit playing entirely. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to redesign my character. I'm going to come back under a new name and all that stuff. So I've done exactly that. I was like, what name would be fitting? Because I've always liked Shadow from Final Fantasy VI. I think he's a very cool character. And silhouette is my favorite word in the English dictionary, so I was like, I'll just kind of mix up the spelling of it, make it make sense. So that's what I logged back in as, and I've been silhouette ever since. It just fits.
I knew none of this, and I'm so glad that I did. I feel like silhouette is in a lot of ways like and not to sound cliche or sound cheesy, I feel like silhouette is your phoenix down feather, and this is kind of like your redemption story, you being reborn into something else and being truly who you want to be and being accepted for who you are. So I had no idea about any of that. That's amazing. I'm sorry that that people feel that behind a monitor or behind a screen that they can, be trash to strangers that they don't even know. But again, you're constantly a person, at least that I'm seeing now, and I kind of known to a degree. You kind of overcome it all, and you're just like, whatever. I'll be bigger and I'll be better. So I highly respect you and I highly applaud you for that.
I appreciate that.
I didn't. And see, this is why I love doing these interviews, because this is how I get to know people. You never, the thing about the internet is you only know so much about people at face value, and you only know so much about people by what they choose to present and convey. But once you actually get the opportunity to kind of step into their shoes and get a better idea of what their life is like, you can learn so much about a person. And in part, you can learn about yourself. So I feel like I'm getting to learn so much more about you. And I'm just like, I need to play with Cyl O Ette more. I need to play with Cyl O Ette. We need to find the person that took your GameCube stuff. Let me find out where they are and, catch me outside, Mr. GameCube inventory stealer. You seem to have gotten over it. I will not get over it for quite a bit. I'm a Latina, so I hold grudges for a very long time. So let me hold this grudge for you and let me take care of it. But no, I really kind of applaud that you're very open and you're very transparent about these things, and you do so without rancor. So I applaud you for that. Well, I'm still going to segue into this question because I can, and I apologize for the tangent on it. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that your knowledge with the Phantasy Star franchise really kind of expands from the original servers of Pioneer 2 and PSO way back into the 2000s, which I'm assuming still stands. Did you play the Dreamcast version, or did you actually start from the GameCube version?
I started from the GameCube version. I never had a Dreamcast growing up.
Okay.
But I do remember seeing something. I think it was about episode 2 of Dreamcast in a magazine. I was like, "Oh man, that looks awesome. I'd love to play that one day." And it eventually got released GameCube, and I went to the store, and as fate would have it, for whatever reason, they had several copies of the game outside of the glass display case in a box for $20. I was like, oh, well, this is fate. So, but I never actually got to play it online until Blue Burst and the private server on GameCube. I forget what it's called. Stack. Yeah. Stack.
Oh, so you're a Stack kid then. So, one, in retrospect from this entire interview as a whole, you are very heavily into like Nintendo consoles, or is that just kind of what's just been coming up in conversation? You've played different consoles?
I'm a bit of a collector. Some people would say I have a problem because I have almost every console that you can have nowadays. And I kind of bounce back and forth between most of them.
I feel like there could be worse collections in this world still. I'm okay with it. I started with the Dreamcast. Listen, we all start somewhere, and that's okay if you collect consoles. You keep doing it. If it makes you happy and you have the means to do it, there's no reason not to. There's no reason not to. So then, and you also played on the Stack servers, which, one, thank you for pronouncing it, because I've been calling it shit hack for the last I don't know how long, and I thought, I was like, this seems wrong, but I'm going to keep calling it this anyway. I'm sounding it out. How were the Stack servers, if you don't mind my asking? Were you around during I heard there was a great erase, like the great erase of Stack, and I didn't know if you were around during that time.
I definitely wasn't around then, but I don't know, like most of the people on there seem to be really helpful, and you kind of get familiar with them because there's not too awful many there.
Mm-hmm.
And like none of them seem to mind to help you out or whatever. Everybody's really cool in there. I have seen a few arguments break out on there though.
Oh, have you?
Oh yeah.
Oh. See, I've only ever played on the Silverin servers because I have the version 1 Dreamcast, so it was just a kind of a natural connection for me to go to that. And it's very quiet, and I think timing is everything with regards to private servers. And it's funny to me because with native console private servers, much like Stack and much like a Silverant, timing is everything, because you'll get sometimes at most maybe like 5 users on Silverant, which there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's busy, and a lot of the demographic of who's playing on the Dreamcast console are probably, full-time workers. They have families, they have friends, they have things to do, so it makes sense. But then you look at, in comparison, a private server like Ephinea or a PSU server like Clementine, and they're just thriving. And I can't help but wonder if the console is what makes the difference or not. Because I'll tell people that I play on console, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're a native Dreamcast, like you're one of the PSO veterans." I go, no, I'm actually quite the opposite. I'm learning. This is me educating myself. So I bought a Dreamcast. Do you ever see that there's kind of positive or negative differences between the private servers for consoles versus the private servers for like the internet games, kind of like Ephinea and like Blueburst?
Definitely. I think a lot of it has to do with well, the Dreamcast version. You have to obtain a Dreamcast, the copy of the game. Then you got to get the little broadband adapter thing, which is not an easy find. And when you do, it's pretty expensive. You kind of have to pay a premium. So I think the entry level to even be able to play on GameCube is probably something only really dedicated diehard people do.
Mm-hmm.
There's also no guarantee because all of that is old hardware. Even if you buy a new memory card, it's still aged. It's been sitting in that box for a very long time. So you can't really find any with a guarantee that it will work. You just kind of have to take the shot and hope for the best. So I think that kind of halts the population on consoles.
Mm.
Whereas Ephinea or some of the other ones are much easier to access. There's no cost or anything like that.
Mm. I've noticed as well, and this is just, I guess, kind of personal observation for myself. I think a lot of people gravitate towards the GameCube version because of the array of options that GameCube PSO offers in terms of like race class combos compared to maybe say version 1, version 2 of Dreamcast. You almost feel like if you're going to be paying at premium to invest in the adapter and get yourself set up online and play on a private server, have access to all the classes that you can play. For myself, when I picked up the Dreamcast, I noticed I knew that I was going to have some restrictions. Like I wouldn't be able to play a Vtuber Cyl on my version 1 Dreamcast, but it was more important to me to play on the Dreamcast and kind of see it in its original iteration before playing on like the GameCube version. So, was that kind of the same mentality that you had as well, or you're just like, I just really like the GameCube and I prefer the GameCube controls just better than Dreamcast, or it was just something that you were more familiar with, so it just felt natural to gravitate towards it?
It was really familiarity because the GameCube's what I've always used. So it's like, well, if I'm going to play it online, might as well go with what I know and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard the Dreamcast version has some bugs and jank to it. I'm sure they both do. In all honesty.
Well, the controllers on Dreamcast are wild. I'll tell you that much. Playing Arachisiel on a private server like Ephinea versus playing on a version 1 Dreamcast. And chat, you could tell me if I'm wrong on this. I will gladly accept, fault for this. It's a very different aim, accuracy, and precision on the Dreamcast version can be a little bit more of a gamble. It's a little more risky than playing kind of on a private server like online on Ephinea. So I'm always like, oh man, am I doing this right? Am I playing the? Did I pick this up? Oh no, I died. Oh no, that means I lost my really good gun and all of my Meseta. Damn it, I gotta go back. I find myself a little more frustrated with Dreamcast. I don't know if you feel that way about GameCube compared to like Ephinea, or you're just like, it's all right, I'll make do.
Yeah, I don't know. I just prefer it where, on Ephinea, if you die, you don't drop your weapons and all that.
Mm.
I always thought that was a weird approach.
It's a very positive quality of life change. It changed my life forever because for the longest time I didn't know what happened to my +2 rifle. I was like, where did it go? Did I drop it somewhere? Did I put it in my bank? Where did I do with it? Until it was brought to my attention that it was with the dragon. And then I just saved my content. So I lost all that Meseta and I lost that rifle and I was really heartbroken about it. Do you think then that you have, and I mean at this point, GameCube version PSO came out, what, in the mid 2000s? I want to say 2002, 2003, or maybe a little later? I can't remember.
Probably somewhere in there.
I know that it was definitely a few years following the version 1 Dreamcast, but do you feel like you have like important kind of tips and tricks that you've learned throughout, the entire time that you've been playing that you would share to other people, whether it be Ephinea or GameCube?
I have a few that they work with both versions. I don't know about the Dreamcast, but of course, there's the usual tips like always feed your mag, watch your mag feeding charts because certain like special mags can only be evolved from specific mags that you can only get with certain other characters. So you kind of have to watch that. And there's level requirements for some of those mags as well. But another tip that I learned back on GameCube that also works on Ephinea that I never see anybody do hardly is the long hallways that have all the bombs in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that big of a problem for me and you because we can see them.
Mm-hmm.
But it still works even for us. If you bring up if you have a suspicion that there's going to be traps in a hallway, you can just bring up your menu where it's got your item pack and your mags and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your menu up and leave it up and run down the hallway because while that menu's brought up, your lock on is disabled. So your character will not freeze up and slow walk.
What?
And you can just run straight through the hallway and never get hit by a single trap.
Wait, hold on. Let me get a notebook. Hold on. Hold the phone. Go ahead. Keep going. I didn't... Making changes to make my life so much easier, and I knew none of this. Ain't nobody told me about this.
It works. I promise you it works, and it's also helpful for getting away from enemies or bosses that are about to do like a really big attack because it disengages your auto target so you can just sprint away from them by bringing up the menu. It will help you not get hit a lot more often than anything else.
I'm a newcomer. It's okay if I didn't know that. Although I'm mad at myself that I had no idea about this.
I mean, I've seen level 180, 200 players just walk through a hallway and kind of eat the traps. Seems like most people don't know about that one.
You got any more good ones like that? That'll make me look so cool when I run with random parties.
Guess that's probably about the extent of it.
Okay.
But it does definitely help a lot.
Now, would you say, and I don't know this about you, because I've only ever seen you play on 2 classes in Ephinea. I've seen you play your Cyl, and I've seen you play your Humar. I believe that's a Humar, or was that a Ramar?
I think it's a Ramar.
It's a Ramar. I was gonna.
No, it's a Humar.
Oh, it is a Humar?
Sorry.
So then, do you have a preference to classes that you enjoy playing, or do you think that there's some classes that may possibly have an upper edge over others? I'm dying to know now.
I think it's the I believe I could be mistaken, but I think the Seal is actually the best character to use with like daggers and uh, fist weapons because they have slightly faster animations with it that are unique to them. I typically go with either a Whirl or a Seal these days. I'm not very adept with Force at all, or Rangers.
Rangers, I don't mind. I don't know if it's because I'm truly a Seal at heart, but I want to feel cool like a Seal. So I just use a gun a lot on my Seal. But I've noticed that with forces in general, there's a lot of coordination and kind of, TP like allocation and knowing what to use where and when to use it and when to buff and when to debuff. I applaud everybody that is a force main. I cannot do that shit. I'm not good at it. I've tried and I'm not good at it. So I applaud every force that's out there. I'm a hunter at heart and I'm probably I'm probably a ranger at heart, but I want to feel cool, so I play hunters. I I've tried to play forces. Have you gotten any high level forces, or do you even have a lot of alts?
I don't have that many alts. I have there's this character, there's my Humar. I think there's one other character that I did not level at all. I just created them because for the mag that I was going after, I had to get my mag to a certain level and then trade it off to them because the only way to get that mag in particular was if I think it was a ranger had to be the one to level them up. So it would evolve again. That way I could use my mag cell. So that's the only reason that other character exists.
Now, do you feel that and it sounds like you've again played other MMOs, following or, succeeding Phantasy Star Online, the mag feeding evolution. I personally don't mind it. I really like, being able to feed the mag, but do you think that that's almost a little too tedious, a little too grindy, or do you feel that that kind of suits your play style?
I don't mind it so much. I feel like maybe it could have been done a little bit better. In fact, in the newer Phantasy Star Online games, I kind of miss not having a mag to feed. Uh, but it definitely could have been handled a lot better. And probably going back on the previous question, the tips, I would recommend. I don't know if it's necessary for forces because they're mostly magic. I don't think magic can miss. But I would definitely recommend anybody getting their decks up to probably around 50 on your mag because you'll need that accuracy boost in the higher difficulties.
Just in case you're watching my stream. Oh man, I can't check my mags. Never mind. I'm like, I can't tell if you see me going into my menu trying to check all my mags and stuff right now. I'm like, where's my mag decks at? How am I doing on my mag decks? 28, 4. We're working on it. Did you know? Do you actually? Okay, let me ask you a question because I learned this just a few weeks ago. I learned that I can have multiple mags in my bag. I can only have one equipped, but I can have multiple mags in, and I can feed them all simultaneously. Is that what you do with your mags, or do you do them one at a time?
I focus on one at a time because I'm the type of person that usually has one build type in mind. But that's just a me thing, really. Like, I'm usually more than happy to get a mag to level 200 and walk off of it because it's so expensive to buy the materials and stuff. And I'm also afraid that I'll forget which mag I'm trying to do what with.
That's my concern now. I have to base them all off colors. And I've recently learned that I apparently have two mags that have two different colors. I have a ruby mag and I have an azure mag, and I didn't know that those were Ephinea exclusive colors, so I had to name one of them Magby, or at least chat named one of them Magby, and then the other one, I don't know, I think I named it Carl because I felt like Carl's a really strong fitting name for a ruby mag. But I have to constantly remind myself which one I have equipped, which one have I fed, which one have I not fed yet, and there's a lot of antidotes being purchased, and I'm like, I gotta make a spreadsheet for this. I didn't fully prepare myself for this. But you also have played other Phantasy Star games, which is, I'll be honest, news to me. I did not know that you play the other Phantasy Star games. Did you play like Phantasy Star Zero, Universe, Portable, and then PSO2?
Universe, Portable, and Zero are the 3 Phantasy Star games I've actually not played.
Oh.
But I did play the old school original JRPG Phantasy Star games.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Because I was like, you played some PSO2. Do you play New Genesis, and why are we not friends in game?
I do play New Genesis, but I haven't booted it up in a while. For whatever reason. I don't really know why. Probably a new shiny game came out.
It was a new Souls game.
It probably was. It probably actually was the release of Elden Ring or something. I've got the attention span of a gnat. Very much like a crow. If I see something new and shiny, I'm going to run to
it. Well, speaking of attention, what I am going to bring to everyone's attention is we're actually getting close to our first ad break here on the channel. I try to do it so that there's long increments, so that there's not any interruptions. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually take a quick ad break for everybody. It's going to be about 3 minutes. If anybody wants to get up, stretch, use the restroom, grab a drink, I'll actually be loading that up in just a few minutes. And then still, if you still stick around with me for the next half of the stream, I would love to chat with you more just about general games and just get us getting to know you and open up questions from chat and see if chat has any questions for you as well, if that sounds good to you.
Sounds fine with me.
All right, then. So I'm going to head on over here and do a quick ad break. So you guys are aware, go grab a snack, go grab a drink, hydrate, stretch, and we will be right back, folks. Now, while that ad break is actually going on, I believe for any subscribers of the channel, I believe they could still hear us. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Hello, all you lovely people. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Syl, you're doing great. I'm so excited. How you doing? How you feeling?
Feel pretty good. Feel like I've woke up and not so groggy.
Mm-hmm. That's the worst part of getting up from, like, when you have that real heavy sleep or that heavy nap. Once you wake up, you're kind of discombobulated. You're like, where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah, I think the new time change kind of messed me up a little bit.
Oh, me and time changes don't do well. I start getting acclimated into a system with my sleep, and then without fail, it's like, oh, fall's here, spring's here, I'm not ready. It is the worst. It is the absolute worst. But I didn't know as well, was it because you had worked, so you were sleeping from work?
I've been off for, let's see, I'm off today, I was off yesterday,
Ooh.
And I took Sunday off because I wasn't feeling well at all.
Are you still not feeling well?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. I was just checking. I'm like, if you came and did this interview while sick, I would tell you to hydrate and go rest, and we can continue this interview while you're resting.
Typically, if I get sick, I tend to usually get mostly over it in about 6 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
Usually not that bad.
Oh, if I get sick, I'm usually out for the count. I'm that 12 to 18 hour sleeper where I'll get up and be like, "Oh, I just need a drink of water, make sure I don't get dehydrated. I'm good. I'm going back to bed." My body just needs sleep more than anything, especially just cuz I'm so in the hustle and bustle and on the move. So does that mean you go back to work tomorrow then?
Unfortunately, but only tomorrow and Thursday. And I'm off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Nice. Oh, we did choose a good week then. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. And I see a lot of folks also in chat have been saying hello. Monkey D Sean said hi. Hi, Monkey D. Raj and Arlix also said hi. I believe these are all hellos for you, by the way. I don't believe they're from myself. I see Dee Dee has also mentioned classic NES games. I see some emotes from Sarzak, Jaina Bay coming in. Thank you guys so much for your support. If there's any questions that I may have missed, and I'll actually say this after the ad break as well, please be sure to post them in chat if you have any questions for Cyl, because Cyl just taught me how to not die in a tunnel. Go figure. It looks though like we are back. We've returned back from the ad break. I did also want to make sure that if anyone in chat had any questions for Cyl O Ette, please feel free to post them in here. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep asking all the questions because I'm dying to get to know all these things. I now understand your PSO nature, but now knowing that you play all these other these different games, I didn't know you were an Elden Ring fan. And there's nothing wrong with having a short attention span because that's what I do. I played 2 weeks of Pal World and then I stopped playing.
Oh yeah, me too. I played Power World for a little bit, and I don't know. It's a fun game, but I guess I kind of just ran out of things to do. Really.
Well, see, the thing is that it kind of hinged on the whole Pokemon-esque theme, and I haven't been a very huge Pokemon-esque player. Like, the extent of my evolutions and playing something similar to Pokemon was like Gigapets and Tamagotchi as a kid. That's really kind of like I needed to portably take something with me. So Pokemon never really stuck my attention the way those have. So, and then now I see that Dragon's Dogma is coming out and Enshrouded, which I've heard so much about from people, as well as Helldivers. All everybody keeps saying is it's Starship Troopers. I don't know if that's true or not.
There's a lot to like there, though.
Are you looking forward then to, or is the new Elden Ring coming out soon? I know they just announced a release date for it.
The DLC, I think, launches sometime in June. So we still have quite a while to wait for that one.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll actually finish the first one because I couldn't get into it. It was very hard for me. I don't dodge well. If you've ever played with me, oh, you have. You've played with me in game. I don't dodge things. I just shoot as long as I can, and then I kind of run around and kite, and then I shoot some more things. So it's a skill set that I have not acquired. I'm not stealthy at all. Like I'm not very good at dodging and parrying. So.
Well, if you're ever in Elden Ring, giving it another shot, it doesn't really matter which system you're on, I don't guess, as long as it's on like PC or PlayStation. You can hit me up if you want to, and I'll show you some ropes in there too.
Show me how to get good. Show me how to get good and not constantly run into things. Because the thing is, and this is with all games, but it's easier for me to figure out in a game that has grinding like Phantasy Star Online is figuring out telephonics and figuring out patterns. And I would say as well for games like side scrollers or platformers like Castlevania, you have to start to see the pattern that an enemy is doing before you know when to strike or when to attack. I can't find that for some reason in a game like Elden Ring, and I don't know if it's because it's almost fully 3D and it's not like 2D to the side, so I can't observe it as well. Like, is it something that just kind of comes naturally to you?
Probably. I started way back on Demon Souls, and I was absolutely atrocious on it. Like horrible. I couldn't even get past the first mob
Mm-hmm.
for several days, and it was really an act of stubbornness to learn it. I was like, I'm going to get good at this game, and I'm going to beat it. And like if you learn one of those games, it doesn't matter if it's Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, maybe not so much Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
That was just fundamentally different. But if you learn one of them, you can typically go in and have a bit of an edge, Elden Ring or any of the others.
Maybe I should restart playing Elden Ring just so I can get better acclimated to playing Armored Core 6. I'm so adamant on wanting to play it because I want a mech. I want to be a mech pilot. And then Elden Ring, I'm helping this witch out named Ronnie, and I think she has 4 arms, and I think she wants to marry me or she wants me to marry her, and it got weird. It got weird real fast for me, and I was like, this is wild. I want to go back to being a mech pilot.
Won't spoil anything for you, but it gets pretty dark too.
Well, that is right up Sam's alley. Sam loves playing those games, and the thing is that, and you could tell me if this is the way you are as a gamer as well. You like the challenge, and you like getting frustrated in those things because it almost feels like it's a bigger sense of accomplishment once you do achieve it and once you do beat the boss. I don't know if that's a true statement or not. I never get to that point. I rage quit and I walk away.
That is absolutely how I am, and I think most of that probably stemmed again back when I was a kid playing the Castlevania franchise,
Mm-hmm.
and those became some of my favorite games of all time. So yeah, I think I'm definitely one of those that seeks the challenge.
See, it there's a lot of things for Castlevania. Castlevania has a story and an aesthetic that is very enticing to me. There's something about vampires and that kind of Victorian Regency era that has always sucked me in. I think it's for good reason. That's why I also absolutely love Bloodstained. But there's something about the environment of Elden Ring, and unfortunately, I don't know much about the Souls games. I've never played them, and I don't know much about Bloodborne. But there's something about them that they do have a dark aesthetic about them, but it doesn't grab my attention. I'm more keen to following through on a game if it has, I guess for lack of a better term, like this very romantic goth. Like having Alucard to look at in Castlevania really gives you great motivation. I don't know if that anybody else feels that way, but that's how I feel. If I look at Alucard enough, I'm like, it's all right. I got to do it for him. I got to do it for Alucard. I don't have that in Elden Ring. I don't have that in those other games. So I don't. Does that kind of like play into what your interests are? Because it looks like a lot of the games that you play, or at least the games that I've seen thus far outside of PSO, are historical based, or they kind of carry those dark elements. Is that something that entices you?
Oh, definitely. I've always been drawn to more of the fantasy slash medieval era.
Mm.
Like, even in real life, it's pretty nerdy, but I collect medieval weaponry. So I'm pretty well set in those themes. Uh, as far as like PSO, that's probably some of the only franchises that I've gotten into that are in more of a futuristic setting.
Oh, see, now that's interesting to me because I thought you were more of a science fiction kind of person, which actually that's great because that's I'm learning something new on that. And now knowing that you collect medieval weaponry, by the way, not nerdy, awesome. How does your collection look? And can we compare and take notes? Because I got a bitchin' shield at work that I can show you.
awesome. I don't have a shield, but I have several. Got broadswords. I've got short swords, maces, claymores. I have katanas. I even have a few that were custom made for me.
What?
I would say probably I have a total of some 30 weapons or so.
And you just hang them up in the house?
Oh no, they're scattered about corners and stuff. I don't have where I'm currently living at. I don't have enough space to get like wall mounts or racks or anything like that. And unfortunately,
Okay. No. That's totally. I live in an apartment that I can't actually hang things up, so I have these wonderful art prints and stuff, and they're all at work because I can't hang them up on my walls at home. So I get that. I get that completely. And do you also like partake in a lot of like the Renaissance medieval fair kind of things as well, along with collecting the weaponry, or?
well, I've never been to a Renaissance. I think I would have a lot of fun there, but I used to hang out with a group of people and we would have like duels and stuff like that.
Mm.
And I've practiced with them since I was about 9 years old. Yeah, I think I was 9 when I got my first sword.
What? Someone was this your mother that let you have this sword? Because I want you to know I kind of love her and I want her to be my mom too.
She was very okay with
it. So you just started practicing and training and you're just like, I'm going for it. Why not?
Yep.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Fabled One, you did come in time. Welcome to the channel. Fabled One is asking, what kind of sword was it?
The first one was it was a long sword, and it had like some kind of, I would say probably a cast brass handle. Sadly, one day it fell, and the handle hit a rock, and it broke.
No. Do you still have the pieces?
I've got the blade somewhere, and I actually tempered it myself and kind of reforged it where it wouldn't chip or dull or anything. But unfortunately, I didn't know a whole lot about that, and now it can't really sharpen it either.
So wait, do you have blacksmithing? Okay, so do you have blacksmithing skills? And I'm just learning about this now.
I have blacksmithed, I think, 2 swords in my lifetime, and I've discovered that it seems like each person that's doing the forging, I think it has something to do with maybe how hard they strike the metal
Mm-hmm.
and how hot it is and all that. I'm not really adept, but each one I forged was they always had like a deep curve on the blade, kind of like a crescent moon shape, almost like a scythe. Whereas my cousin his would have a much slighter curve to him, like a scimitar or a katana. So I'm not really adept with blacksmithing, but I have done it a few times.
I don't know if you follow anime or not, but I do believe that if you were to fall into an isekai, you would be the blacksmith I would turn to because I feel like you would develop the skills for it easily and very fast. And now I'm kind of curious, do you find yourself kind of someone who gravitates towards like crafting and gathering in MMOs? Is that kind of more your interest, or are you purely like a combat player and you just buy your gear?
It depends on the game, but I'm usually, for lack of a better terms, I'm usually just a murder hobo. Run around slaughtering everything and getting all the loots that way. But sometimes I do craft, like ESO.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to do quite a bit of crafting. Not so much in Final Fantasy 14, though.
I just imagine your next character with a plague doctor mask on just being a murder hobo in a game. It's like, oh, there's Cyl. Look at him go. Look at that. Look at his kill score. He's doing great. Look at how much gold he's picked up already.
Pretty much what I do.
Well, then, I wanted to ask this, and I meant to ask this earlier, but I was very curious then. Kind of going back to you as a content creator, where do you feel in terms of, giving games a chance? Like, how do you choose certain games? Because you seem like you're a person of varied interests, but a lot of your interests, they have parallels to one another. I think going for the darker aesthetic, but yet also being into the medieval fantasy aesthetic as well, and into the weaponry. It feels, I guess, how do I put this? It's an element of surprise for me to see that you're somebody that plays a variety of games when it seems like there's so many very strong interests that you have. And I noticed that you still want to give other games a chance. Like, how do you decide what games you want to play? And is that something that you could kind of impart to maybe somebody that wants to be like a variety content creator, as opposed to somebody who might be a niche gamer that just only plays X type of games or Y type of games?
So I'm kind of strange in picking games. Like, I always tell people that I'm very much the type of person that makes choices based entirely on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
But if I hear about a game that sounds pretty interesting, I'll look into it, and I usually try to look at things like art style and combat. Like, it has to have combat or I'm going to get bored. Things of that nature, like if it's retro Castlevania type things, it's a shoe-in, obviously, especially if it's a Metroidvania. But as far as like jumping outside of my comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not sure exactly what to do, I'll sometimes take a poll and see what people would prefer to stream,
Mm-hmm.
or prefer to see me stream, rather, and go with their decision. Before my Switch died, I'd actually started streaming Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince.
Oh.
That is very much a Pokemon-esque sort of game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also the newest game, kind of like Dragon Warrior Monsters, that I have fond memories of. So it wasn't that bad of a choice.
So then would you then try, because there's also like subgenres of, not necessarily visual novels or sims of that sort, but there's some of those like psychological thrillers that they're dark, but they're not presented as dark. Like, it's something that you learn as time goes on, and you kind of start to develop, the personalities, the character dynamics, the psyche of the characters. Would those be games that you would give a chance to? Or is that something that, again, you would kind of leave up to your community and let your community kind of gauge their opinion on it?
A bit of both, actually. I'm a pretty big fan of a franchise called Corpse Party,
Corpse?
which, oh yeah, it starts as, like, if you just look at the opening scene, you're going to think it's this light-hearted game, but it's actually a horror-based psychological thriller, kind of anime style, all this stuff. It's really, really brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing happy about the game whatsoever. But for things like that, like if I know they're extremely dark, then I would ask my community to make sure they're okay with watching something like that, because that particular franchise gets really, really rough.
So your community then, would you say your community is very horror centric, or do you think it sounds like your community is kind of an amalgamation of all these different kind of fans of games. Like, and it sounds like you still like you can manage to make all of them happy. Like, what would you say would best describe your community?
I think most of them tend to like retro style games, but some of them will stick around for Dark Souls or whatever. A lot of them will just pop in just for the sake of popping in, you know. I don't really know if they have a particular preference.
I think that means they're there to see you, and kind of their energy's, gauged on your energy, and they just, they're like, we're here for the chill vibes, and we're just here to have a good time. Might get scared in the process, but that's okay.
Most of them, but there are some of them that popped in for Kingsfield streams, which is the predecessor of Dark Souls. By the way,
Oh,
it's
okay.
one of FromSoft's earlier entries. They popped in for that, but after that, they kind of went silent. They pop in every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
I think those in particular were very much there for Kingsfield,
Uh,
and that's fine, you know.
yeah. I noticed when I started streaming back in 2017, I was playing a lot of games, and I found myself constantly shifting and switching in games because I noticed that I would, generate a certain audience and a certain people. But I had a core group of people that, regardless of what game I was playing, they would always stick around for like the conversation, and to this day, that community is still there with me, along with a lot of the new members of my community now. So it's like it's interesting to see just kind of like the ebb and flow of viewers that come in and out of your channels, because it's just like I can't help but wonder all the time. I'm like, where are you from? What do you like? What do you do? And I always find myself wondering. I'm like, I are you here because you really enjoy playing, PSO like me, or do you really you just enjoy watching me fall? Because I do that a lot too. So it makes me a little nervous as a streamer sometimes, and I try to just I started focusing now on just playing games that made me happy. But it seems like from the jump you've always just played games that have interested you and made you happy.
Pretty much, though, it tends a struggle, I think, because I understand that it can be a bit difficult to tell if I'm happy or having fun,
Mm-hmm.
because my voice never really changes. Like, my energy is always the same.
But see,
It's very static.
you have an inflection though, and you have a tone in your voice, and this is, I think, like my impression of you, especially from the first time I saw you streaming PSO. You reminded me of the very strong, tough teddy bear. Like, I know you're stoic and I know you're tough, but I know you are sweet goo on the inside, and you just need to embrace that and just be okay with it, because we know it whether you have to say it or not. And that's kind of my impression of you. It's like you have a very big heart and a very big heart of gold. And just because you sound, you sound like you have a very static tone, as you said, I don't think it changes your outreach towards people. And I think that's what I think is keeping your community lasting as long as it is, and it has your community coming in and out, because they know, okay, there might be let's say another content creator I want to watch, but I know when I come back I can pick up right where I left off with Cyl. And that's something that's kind of hard, because some content creators, and I don't know any off the top of my head, like I don't know any names, but some of them, it's so hard for them to kind of steer away from the numbers, and it discourages them when they see their numbers kind of go up and down, and they kind of fluctuate like that. Whereas it seems like you as a streamer, you're going to keep playing your game all the way through, and it almost exudes a sense of confidence. And that, you know what I mean? That's why they're going to keep coming back to you. They're going to be like, I know Cyl's okay. I know Cyl's fine. So don't worry about your voice. I honestly thought it was your Plague Doctor voice, and I was like, maybe I should have a voice for my PNG tuber. But then I couldn't pull off a robot voice without hurting my throat, so I stopped real fast. I was like, I can't do that anymore. So you gotta embrace it. You gotta live it. You gotta celebrate it and just be like, yeah, I'm the most bitchin' plague doctor. And damn it, I need to know more about I gotta do more channel point redeems so I can see the vampire face. Because I finally saw it and I was like, well, I didn't know it came off. And he didn't tell me that it comes off. And now I'm a little upset about that. Because I'd be saving all my points for when it came off. And that's the other thing is I noticed as well that you have like a very different schedule. Like you stream when you stream. Do you have like a means of connecting with folks, whether it be like Twitter or like Discord, so that they know, hey, this is when I plan on streaming, or I have a prior engagement, so I won't be able to stream this night? Like, because it doesn't look like you have like a set fixed schedule. It sounds like you stream when you have the availability to.
So I used to post it on Twitter, the plans and schedule and all that, but it got to where more and more, because of various life occurrences, sometimes I'm not really able to keep to my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of quit posting it much. So basically now, if I'm going to be streaming and I know for a fact that there's no way I'm not going to, I'll post it around Discord, all that stuff. But here recently, because of certain going-ons in life, I've not streamed like I'd like to. I think there's been times where it's almost a month between streams. And it's because, if things aren't going well and I'm not in the best of moods, I don't want to project that energy onto the community or anybody coming in that's new or anything like that. So that's why my schedule's been all over the place lately.
Yeah, but it's a smart call to do something like that, especially if you're not in the right frame of mind or your head's not in the right place. You don't want to, like you said, kind of infringe that upon anybody else. So you're making the smart call for it. And it sounds like you have a very understanding and a very supportive community that are like, okay, we'll see you when we see you then. We're not going anywhere. So that's nice. That says a lot about your community. Your community sounds like sweethearts. And now I want to go see them when you stream. Be like, hi guys, I don't know how to play any of these Souls games. Please be kind to me. I don't want to deal with the jump scares because I get scared very easily in horror games. I got scared in watching Alan Wake 2. I was like,
I have still yet to see that at all.
Have you played Alan Wake 1?
I have not, actually. What was the last horror game I played? I think it was the newest Resident Evil. I don't even know if you'd call them horror anymore. But there was also Amnesia and Silent Hill.
Oh, I liked the early Silent Hill games. I think it was Silent Hill 2. Was that the one with the hospital? I can't remember. Or maybe they all had a hospital.
I know 2 and 3 for sure have a hospital, and I think even 4 does, but 2, if I'm not mistaken, it's been some years, but I think 2's the one that introduces Pyramid Head.
That's the one then. Because that was also the one that had the puzzle with the grandfather clock and figuring out the hands and the minutes to open doors and whatnot.
Yes.
So that's the element of Silent Hill. And that's definitely not a crucial element, or maybe it is. I could be wrong. That I absolutely love about the Silent Hill games is to figure out like puzzles and riddles, and you feel like there's a sense of urgency in what you're doing because you'll hear noises, the change of music will get very dramatic. Those are the elements of horror games that I love. I don't like getting scared easily, but Silent Hill I can get behind. Silent Hill, I didn't mind them, except when they jump out, then I don't like them at all. I'm like, that's just disrespectful. That's just rude, game. I get scared easily. How dare you? So But now I'm very curious. Do you think you would ever I know that you have to have a very combat driven kind of focus in games. But do you think that you would ever see yourself, if it's more of a psychological thriller, trying like a visual sim game out or something like that?
Uh, you, geez, let me regather that. You referring to visual novels?
Yeah, visual novels. Did I say visual sims? Because that's not what I meant.
You did,
Oh.
but uh, I don't really know. Like, I would probably try them out.
The only reason I say this is, and I'm going to throw this your way. I'm going to throw this on your wall. You tell me if it sticks or not. But and this is a story for chat real fast as well. Before I was streaming as a content creator, I was actually doing a dating sim podcast with a fellow friend of mine. And we would talk about the dichotomy and breakdown of dating sims, specifically Japanese otome games. And they have a very cookie cutter, system, and a very cookie cutter kind of, process. But a couple of the games that they had were, while you're trying to romance someone, they're very, very visually dark. But some of them don't present themselves as a dark game. And one of these involved pigeons. There is a dating sim somewhere on Steam that is apparently about romancing pigeons. And as you're playing the game, you're kind of thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm trying to romance a pigeon, which I've tried romancing refrigerators too. I'm not going to lie. But the story behind the pigeons gets real dark. And I have no idea if this would be up your alley. But you've really got to kind of push through romancing pigeons to get to that real dark storyline. So if you're ever in need of something different, I have to look up what the actual title of the game is. My co-host, she had played it, and I refused to because I lived in New York, and I was like, I'm never going to romance pigeons. And then finally, years after the podcast has since been done, I finally played the game. But let me see if I could find the name of it. I don't know if this would be up your alley, especially because you're gonna, and I don't, would your wife be okay with you romancing pigeons too? Like, I feel like I have to ask that question.
I'm not entirely sure. She might be a little skeptical.
Okay. If you ever wanted to, should life, okay, no, that's not how I want to say it. Should you ever feel that you are in a direction that you want to do something in honor of Valentine's Day? No, that's not what I want to say either. Should you ever find yourself wanting to appreciate nature and wildlife? We'll go that way. There's a game called Hatoful Boyfriend, and it's about romancing pigeons. But it gets real dark on certain routes.
I've actually heard of that.
It's an older game. I think, when did it come out? It came out in 2011. I can't believe I'm actually suggesting this to you, Cyl. But and please do not ever feel like you have to stream this. You can keep this quietly to yourself in a deep, dark place when you want no one to see this happen. But if you are looking for a good psychological dark game, I highly suggest you play Hatoful Boyfriend. And that's my recommendation for today.
Now that I think about it, I did play something kind of like that, I think. Doki Doki Literature Club.
Ah, yes. Yes. See, yes. There's also another game called Amnesia, which is not your amnesia. It's my amnesia, which involves boys that are dressed like certain card suits. But it gets real dark real fast. They put people in cages. It's a whole mess. But see, Japan's wild. Japan is wild. But since you mentioned like psychological thrillers, I was like, I'm going to give him this recommendation. He doesn't have to follow through with it. But just so you know, if you're ever bored one day, keep that in the back shelf for you. And Chad, if you ever want to play it, go ahead.
I did play one here a while back. It's more of an RPG thing, but that one was actually so dark that I'll never stream it. Like, there's no way. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was a good game, but it was just too much. Like whenever you open up a game and it's got this trigger warning immediately before you see the menu, and it's got this long list of triggers. Yeah.
Is it layers or is it here Fear and Hunger?
It is indeed.
I know that game very well. There's wonderful mods to cover up certain things. It actually is a great game. It's a phenomenal game. And I know very few. It has its very niche community to it. But Fear and Hunger, I actually watch a YouTube content creator who got very entranced into the game as well. So I do know that one. I know what you have seen. You're brave.
Yeah.
I've only seen it blurred out.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Now, so if you've played Fear and Hunger 1, have you played Fear and Hunger 2, and have you tried Starvation Mode?
I have played the sequel, but I don't think I've tried Starvation Mode.
I myself have never played the game at all. I've only ever watched other content creators do it, and I applaud you all because I would not be able to deal with some of the things that I've seen. I'm like, what? Why does that crow look like that? That's not what a raven should look like. That's horrific.
Oh, that crow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just the phobias that are, done. But the way they introduce, and I will give them credit for this, and this is, I think, something to be said about horror games in general. There is something very liberating about psychological games, like psychological thrillers and horror games, that show equal representation of like all walks of life, regardless of your race, your religion, your sexual orientation, what you choose to identify as. That filter kind of gets thrown out the window because everyone is equal in a horror game and in a psychological thriller. And I think that says a lot about that industry of games, because it's more about instilling fear in you than it is caring about what is the societal norm. And I think that's a cool thing.
I'd agree.
Yeah. But I applaud you for playing Fear and Hunger. You have my respect because I'm never going to play it. So then,
I played the first one all the way to the end, but I did not finish the second one.
Oh, did you get the good ending or the bad ending? I forget what the ranks are like for the good endings and bad endings.
I kind of got stuck. I was working on one of the better endings, but I couldn't complete it. There was no way. I ran out of resources and everything, so I ended up having to do the one that's called Escape, which is basically just you leaving everything. Your character lives the rest of their life wondering if the others made it out.
Oh my god. I have not seen that ending, nor have I seen that run.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. They say that they can still hear the screams and stuff coming from that place. Definitely, I have regrets taking that ending.
Oh god. Have you actually also, do you enjoy like ARPGs at all? Like, would you say you've ever tried like, say, like the Diablo franchise or anything like that? Have you ever considered playing those?
I have played them. I've played a little bit of 1, played a little bit of 2. I played a lot of Diablo 3 and a little bit of 4.
Nice. My introduction was at 3, and I was like, what is this? Now, mind you, I came from a very religious upbringing, so I was like, what is all this stuff? And then I was like, oh, but this zoo build's great on this witch doctor. Let me go.
Yeah, they're definitely very thematic in their religion stuff in that game.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the one thing that I will never fault anyone, nor will I ever shame anyone for their choice of game that they're interested in, because we're all different people, different strokes for different folks. But I love that ARPGs, and I love that horror games, as Fabled says in chat, they're story games that bring us all together as humans to help make realistic decisions. There's nothing wrong with interrupting the interview either, Fabled One. This is definitely like a free form, so if people want to give their 2 cents on anything, by all means, please feel free to. But I agree. I think you start to focus more with horror games and psychological games on the human condition, and you start to focus on just how to be towards one another, because you're both kind of against this united cause, whether it be some organic or physical or corporeal form or non-corporeal. It could just be something like a plague or something like a pandemic. So I always like that about those games. I just get very scared very easily. Like, I played Layers of Fear and I was like, no dice. Nah, I'm not doing that again. I tried. I even tried it in tabletop role-playing games, but I got scared. I tried Vampire the Masquerade. Have you ever tried that?
The tabletop?
Whether the tabletop or even the video game version. I think it was the original Bloodlines, I think it was called.
I think I played one of them that recently came out, but it was like a battle royale thing, so I don't know if that one even counts.
I don't. I tried playing the old version that was available on Steam, and I cannot for the life of me remember it. But again, there's a lot of choices about, doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. And a lot of games, when you play choose your own adventure games now, they don't necessarily have, like, it's almost too clear cut and too concise to see that you're making either a right decision or a wrong decision. Not so many of them are very thought provoking, and that's what I kind of enjoy about, I guess, the fear and psychological games. It's just unfortunate that I get scared so easily. I tried playing Lethal Company and I screamed when the word spider attacked me. Like, I get scared so easily. So, but if we ever collaborate, I would love to play a horror game with you. Just make sure that I don't scream and blow your eardrums out. I feel really bad.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, aside from that though, I did want to also ask: is anybody in Cyl's community here? Can I say hi to you guys? Oh, we've got a hydrate redeem, and we've also got a stretch redeem. If I'm doing all these, you got to do these too, Cyl. I need you to stretch, and I need you to hydrate.
Certainly.
I see some hearts in chat coming in. I see some folks that have come and visited from Fabled 1. Eva. Oh, here I go again. Let me do that. Eva's here. Or Liv is here. I'm sorry, Eva. Liv is here. Fabled's here. Sarzak's here. Oh. The community has come out in full force to support you, my friend. In full force. Do you have any plans or upcoming plans coming in the pipeline, or things that you would like to do that you can let the chat know?
I don't. I was thinking about streaming Silent Hill 4.
Oh.
Sometime soon. I don't really know when. And of course, there's Dragon's Dogma. Probably will be some PSO streams. It's almost a guarantee.
I'll be there for the PSO streams, but I will also be there for the Dragon's Dogma streams. I didn't know you were a Dragon's Dogma fan, but now getting to know more about you throughout the course of the interview, that is so right up your alley.
I would probably put the first one in my top 10 favorite video games of all time.
Can you even make a top 10 video game list? I've attempted, and I have not been successful.
I probably could not, honestly, because I've got, I don't know, thousands of games. yeah, it'd be really hard to narrow that down. I'd probably actually have to put like top 10 franchises or something.
Oh,
Like Shin Megami Tensei being one of them.
ooh, okay. Okay. I wasn't expecting some SMT in there. Does that mean you're also into like Danganronpa too?
I've played them.
Mm-hmm.
I played 1 and 2, I think. I believe there's more than that now. I think there's like 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of them being a spin-off or something. But yeah, I've definitely played them.
Oh, snap. I did not know that. Oh, I gotta see what other games you got coming on the pipeline. I'm definitely there for Dragon's Dogma, that's for sure. And I'm assuming that, with no guides and you're gonna just take it as a blind run and experience everything with fresh eyes, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that's one of the things I always do. Like any run I do, it's blind.
Even on the games that you've streamed online, like your Bloodborne game and your Souls games that you've streamed online, they're all fresh runs.
Most of them were, yes. I do admit though, this last Bloodborne stream, that one, it was blind, but it kind of wasn't at the same time because I already knew what I had to do to get the platinum trophy.
Okay.
So I just gunned for that. But there's a few trophies in that game that you're probably not going to find without a guide because they're so obscure.
So do you like doing achievement hunting or do you like speed running? I never thought to ask this. Or do you just like full completion?
I'm usually a full completion person, but at the same time, I don't really trophy hunt because most of the time I've got 2 platinum trophies to my name on my entire PlayStation career. But to me, once you get the platinum trophy on a game, that's it. You killed the game. You're done.
Oh,
It's for that reason that I try not to do it. But for Bloodborne, it was time.
I've given all of my blood, sweat, and tears. This ends now.
The other one was Conan Exiles, which is unfortunate because I really enjoyed that game, and now I don't really have the same drive to play it anymore.
Oh, Conan. I was actually just talking about this in, I forget whose Discord server. So I live locally by the Frazettas, and I attended the Frazetta Museum. Are you familiar with Frank Frazetta's art and whatnot?
I am not.
He
I don't think.
he did a lot of the Conan artwork, and he is was a phenomenal artist. He unfortunately passed in 2010, but he did Fire. He was part of a collaboration with Fire and Ice, and he did a lot of the Conan stuff. And I was very curious about trying I think it was Conan Exiles, or maybe it was Age of Conan, and I forget what the difference between the two is. So now I'm actually kind of curious, like Conan Exiles, is that the MMO one, or is that just the regular combat game to go through?
Well, Conan Exiles, it can kind of be like an MMO if you join like a public server and all that. But really, that one's it's a survival type game, kind of like Ark or The Forest. Like you have to gather food and craft your armor and your weapons and all that good stuff. And you can go on dungeon runs and all that. It's pretty sandboxy, to be honest.
And you, excuse me, I just coughed really bad. I apologize. I choked on my own saliva when I got excited talking about Conan. Oh, okay. I'm back. I'm good. It went down the wrong pipe. Do you do like even like Minecraft stuff or like those survival sandbox games? I know you've done Enshrouded, but does that mean you've done like Valheim and stuff like that as well?
I have played Valheim quite a bit. Uh, I've played Minecraft a little bit, but I'm not versed in it. I've played Terraria, which
Terraria is a good one too.
I absolutely love Terraria. And then there's a favorite one ever, probably to date. It's either between Enshrouded or 7 Days to Die.
Which one is 7 Days to Die? I've heard about that one.
It's a zombie survival game.
Okay. Okay.
But it's very much kind of Minecrafty and everything. It's all voxel based. Got to build your base up and all that good stuff. It's really good.
Now, I'm curious to ask as well, like with the games like Terraria and stuff, is that something that you can play with your family? Like you can play with your siblings or with your significant other? Or are you more like you're more of a solo gamer? Or do you play with your family at all?
As of right now, most of my family, aside from one cousin, most of them don't really play games much. But here soon, in about a week or so, my sister's going to have internet, so we'll probably play something. I don't know what. But I think her taste in games differ quite a bit from mine.
Well, the sibling rivalry is not going to be there, though, right? You guys are gonna be civil about the games you play. It's not going to be like Super Mario all over again.
Oh no, we're good now. I don't think she'll challenge me in any fighting game anymore.
I'll challenge you in a fighting game. Pick up Tekken 8. It's on, Syl. I'll challenge you in Tekken 8.
You'll probably win because I'm atrocious at Tekken.
All right. So then, which fighting games are you good at?
Guilty Gear, Persona Arena, Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm okay at Super Smash Brothers. That's probably about the extent.
I want to like MVC, but I can't. It's hard because every time I've ever seen competitive gameplay of Marvel vs. Capcom, it's resulted in someone fighting somebody off screen and they're all fighting up top, and it frustrates me to no end. But Guilty Gear, I can issue you a fair challenge, and no bets, no wagers, just friendly fun. But if you ever wanted to play a fighting game, I will gladly play some Guilty Gear with you.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. I'm ready for it. And plus, it gives me a reason to listen to metal music, because I love metal music.
Same. It's got an awesome soundtrack.
Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. I'm just like, oh, I know who that guitarist is. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, I'm really sad. Damn, it's already 9:28. Now I'm kind of sad.
That went by really fast.
I know it did, and I was really enjoying it. It's like, this is the thing. I'm starting to consider, I'm like, maybe I should just do another half hour or add another hour. But I am planning on doing longer streams on the weekend. So maybe I can do a long Saturday stream, and we could just have an ongoing Guilty Gear tournament. And it'll be you, it'll be me. We'll find some other friends who play Guilty Gear. If you guys in chat want to play Guilty Gear with us, we'll make it a fun, friendly tournament. No wagers. It's all about, bragging rights. And by bragging rights, I get to tell my husband, hey, I did 4th place, honey. I did so good. I did 4th. But thank you again so much. It was an absolute pleasure to have you here. And I'm actually so excited that I got to interview you. I feel like I've kind of cracked open that shell and I got to know you more. And now I hope tons of other viewers that have been watching today's interview have also checked him out. If you enjoyed hearing my interview with Syl, please be sure to go check him out on his channel. You could see right now with the Caster Command Creeks letting everybody know that you can check him out at Twitch, and you can also check him on twitter.com. And if you actually go to Syl's Twitch page, you will actually also see a link for his Discord, so you can click in there and check it out. But a huge thanks to everybody who tuned in, and again, thank you so much, Syl. I had an absolute blast, and good luck to whoever's going to top next month, because I actually really enjoyed this interview a lot. This one made me super, super happy. And I got emotional throughout portions of it, and I got choked up, and I got excited. So you are an absolute pleasure, and I just hope there's continued success for you, and I just hope there's continued happiness as well, whether it be in the games or outside of the games. I just want nothing but good health and happiness for you.
Same to you. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me along and everything. It's a lot of fun.
It's not a problem. And you know as well, anytime, I'm ever streaming PSO and you're online and you just want to join a party, please come on in and please join us. You're always welcome. There's always a spot with your name on it. So
Will do.
So
do the same.
Oh, I am going to look for you now because we still have to get you, what is it, V101 or is it V108 or V102?
V101.
Okay, listen, I'm level 60. I hear that I can start running Ultimate at level 80. When I hit level 80, that means we can start doing runs to, one, get you that item, and me to just level up more and not be bad. And I think we can do it. I haven't given up on this stream. This stream will not die. I will die on this hill. You will get that item.
I have to get mine to level 82, I think.
Oh, what level are you at now?
I can't remember. Probably around 60, actually.
Oh. Well,
on the character I have to use.
Oh, so that's on your humor.
Yeah.
All right. So then, listen. Let's see first. If you're busy, if you have any prior engagements, that's fine. But I will be streaming again some more PSO Bluebursts on Friday. So if you do need a couple runs in there and you need some extra hands, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to fall on this blade. Let's go. I'm hyped. I don't know why I'm so hyped. Maybe it's because I had a cough drop, but I'm hyped. So let's do this. But thank you again. And again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. What we are going to do is we are going to send off with a Margarita over to a lucky streamer. So I'm going to go see who we have streaming right now so we can send all of this positive energy and all of this love over to someone. So let's see who is streaming right now so we can give them the love. We have... Oh! It looks like Kai is currently doing some phone world speed runs, and I actually haven't gotten a chance to give Kai any Margarita. So let's actually send that over to Kai. Guys, if you enjoy what I do, Kai does speed runs, and she does it really fast, and her hands are phenomenal. It's sorcery. I don't even know what else to describe it as. It is absolute sorcery. But let me actually just close up here on PSO so I can get this up and running. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get this going here. Let's move this over to the stream start. We will have some more updates soon. Just a couple days I'll have more updates on some more assets for the channel, so please be on the lookout for that. I didn't change the alert situation because it's horrific for me. I'm still learning it. I'm a professional content creator, But let's send this love over to Kai, who's currently streaming some Phone World speed runs on GameCube. So let us go to... Where is it? There we go. Let's pick the lovely Miss Kai, because she is phenomenal. There we go. There it is. All right. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. It has been an absolute pleasure. I have been the head maid in charge here, and it's been a pleasure to serve you all. Thank you again so much for tuning in to episode 2. We will let you know when episode 3 of Margarita's Happy Hour happens, so be on the lookout for that. And never, ever, ever forget that this little cast loves you. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you all on Friday. Bye-bye. All right, and